right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, your Limitless Liberator, where I'm here to help you to know how to live, love, and lead powerfully and boldly without limits. Just want to say thank you just for your time, because you could have been anywhere, but you had decided to come here. And what we're doing right now is making sure that you get your questions answered. Really what it's about is I wanted to look at being able to give back, to be able to give back in why not? This is my favorite time of year. I don't know about you, but I love this time of year. And I love the fact that having this opportunity to have this time of year where, it's like it's so festive. It's like we made it to the end of this year. And I said, you know what? We're getting ready for the next year. It's interesting how we will get into a place in a space. I don't know about you, I'll speak for me, where it's like we go into another year and we have to make sure that we're ready for that. Like we have to make sure that we get our house in order. We got to make sure our finances are in order. We got to make sure all these things are in order as we cross over into the next year. Here's the thing. It is also a matter of making sure that you already are ready. There's a saying, make sure that you're already ready so that you don't have to get ready. So what I wanted to do was help you to cross the finish line. It's one thing to get to the finish line. It's another to cross the finish line. So without further ado, this is what I wanted to do and offer this opportunity to answer any questions that you may have. Because, hey, why not? It's always about, the gift that keeps on giving. And because of the fact that this is what I do normally with my clients that I work with and I serve in service, I said, you know what? I want to open up my opportunity or open up my heart to you and to see how I can best support you. So I just want to say thank you. You could have been anywhere, but you had decided to be here with me. So thank you so much for giving me your greatest asset, your time. So I want to make sure that I honor and respect the time. So here's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. You can put in the comment section for me in the chat. Who are you? Where are you from? What has you to decide to be here? Because I want to make sure that I can address you accordingly and to also acknowledge you, because this is about you. You're making this actually possible for you showing up. And I'm going to see, as I'm doing this for this month, and then I'm going to see if I want to be able to continue with it. I'm playing with the days, the time, seeing what works, and we can just go from there. So who are you? Where are you from? What has you to decide to be here? And we can go from there. I don't want, one thing I am not, I don't like to expand time, meaning that having things to say and talk about, I didn't really want to do that. I really wanted to make sure that we actually maximize our time together so that I can have the best time with you, and to also make sure that you get your questions answered, because, hey, you got questions, I have answers. So what I will ask, though, if everybody can mute their phones or their computers, just so I'm making sure that as I do the recording, I just want to make sure that I get everything taken care of. But please, you can let me know in the chat. I'll read it. And then what I'll do is how the format will be. And then we'll have time to open it up. What the format will be is I'll introduce, I'll start looking at the questions that are being given to me. If there's any type of comments that I can let you go ahead and unmute your microphone so that you can share with me on here your questions, that's perfectly fine. What I always like to do is start with a teaser in terms of what things that drops in my spirit, what downloads that I get from heaven, where I feel like how I first started with working, or my background is counseling, coaching, and consulting. When I first started counseling, that was my first business. And I always trusted that the Holy Spirit would give me what to say. I tell you the truth, I remember my first time working, and I actually started working or doing counseling in my basement of my home. And I brought the client into my home, and I didn't know what to do. It's not that I didn't know how to counsel, because I was already counseling for others for about a year or two before I started doing my own. It was just the fact that it was me doing it for myself. So I was treating that client like they were a guest of my home. And I was like, when the client brought up to me the things that they wanted to talk about, I would sit there like a deer in headlights. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I had to change that mindset, because that wasn't true. I already was doing it for others. It was just the fact that, wow, I was doing it for myself now. And I had to tell myself that there was no difference. I still knew how to counsel. And what I did decide to do was look at it as a holistic thing, where we are comprised of mind, body, and spirit. And the fact that if we do not attend to our spirit, or we attend to our spirit, but we don't attend to our mind and our bodies, we're still not a whole self. If we attend to our mind, but don't attend to our body and our spirit, then we're still not a whole self. If we attend to our body, but we don't attend to our mind or our spirit, we're still not a whole self. So I figured that one of the things that I felt that really drawing clients to me was of my holistic approach, and the fact that I always trust that God will give me what to say, because it's not like I know you for me to know how to speak life into you. I can do it from a counseling aspect, but it's another to really open up the space so that you get exactly what you need and you walk away with your questions answered. So I say all of that to say that there was something that came up for me that I did want to share with everyone here that's watching this. And then we can go from there in terms of their questions and being able to get the answers that you're looking for. So once more, my name is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley. I'm your Limitless Liberator, where I'm helping you to learn how to live, love, and lead powerfully and boldly without limits, so that you can go ahead and achieve your goals, being able to achieve your goals without guilt, without apology. My whole desire is to help you to know how to redefine and redesign success and happiness on your terms. So without further ado, I hope that you had found out what I said earlier in terms of there's 3 things that I just ask you to do for me. 1, make sure that you show up, be fully present. 2, make sure that you have a pen and pad. This is a pet peeve of mine with all my clients. I try to make that a point in all my bios and profiles that, listen, it's one thing for you to come with questions and we have a conversation and a dialogue. It's another to help you to workshop and brainstorm and that you walk away remembering and being able to really connect with the answers that's given to you. That's the difference. When people come and they have their concerns that we're talking about, we're working through, it's another to make sure that you are able to connect. I'm a proponent to making sure that I even have mine here, being a proponent to make sure that you connect with your 5 senses with regards to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, because the more that you do that, it will start to really sink in more. It may not get it, and you may not get it today, you may or may not, but it's another, as time goes on, that it really will start to, you start to embody and encapsulate what is being learned. So please make sure that y'all come with pad and pen, okay? And then the last thing is have fun. This is, our very first time together for some of you who is here and who's watching this. But hey, let's just have fun together, because I think that a lot of times we just don't remember how to have fun. And in our fun time, that also helps for us to remember, to connect, to engage, and to remember what is being said in this time. So what came to mind for me for you today is called, I am an acronym gal. I love acronyms. So when I started my practice as a licensed clinical psychotherapist, that was my very first business. I have a few businesses, but that was my very first one. And I was working with this pastor where I was like a service coordinator and project manager for him. And we're talking about decades ago. I know I don't look it. I know it looked like I just came on this earth, right? And he would always want me to come up with catchy phrases. And when I started my own business, I said, you know what? I like acronyms. It just makes sense because this is another way to remember things, actually. So what is called, that came to me today for you, is called A.C.E. A.C.E.I.T. A.C.E. So it's an acronym. What my heart's desire for you to walk away with, not besides getting your questions answered, my heart's desire for you is to make sure that you also are able to really add to the learning that you're getting here. And so with A.C.E., the acronym, we'll start with A, activate. I want you to be able to know how to really activate yourself. We have learned, or I have found in working with clients, what I've studied. I studied the motivators and inhibitions, or the inhibitors of success and happiness. What keeps us from being happy? What keeps us from being successful? And I realized that there's times that we have been programmed and conditioned since our childhood on how to not be seen, how to not reach out, how to be to ourselves, to protect ourselves, because we can't trust people. We have to be safe. We have this mindset where it's always about ourselves, others, and the world. Always remember that. So then you can start categorizing and seeing this fits you. Ourselves, the world, and others. Ourselves, the world, and others. So in our childhood and upbringing, we'll see our environment because it is about safety. When we're young, we want to make sure that our basic needs are met. Food, shelter, and water. And so we have to make sure that we are safe. And so we're analyzing the world, we're analyzing others, we're analyzing ourselves. And we will conclude and decide what we've heard, what we witnessed, what we've experienced in certain matters. But here's the thing. It carries on for the rest of our lives without realizing it. And why? Because of the fact that we were programming it in our own minds, subconsciously. It's not our consciousness. It's not the fact of what we see in real time and what we are aware of right now in real time that really is how we are operating in life. It's really the subconsciousness, what we remember in the past to help us to continue to be safe going forward. And the challenge with that is we think that as we gotten older, that it changes, and it doesn't. If we never touched it, if it served us, if it's not broken, why fix it mentality. So what we still operate to this day, if there's a trigger from what our mom did to us, and then we see Miss Gladys saying something to us, or our coworker, or our boss that's reminding us of our mom, that it triggers us, and now we're in defense mode, or now we're in this particular stance to protect ourselves because we had to learn to do that because of mom. How do you change it? Well, by awareness and by the word that I just mentioned, activate. What I would love and desire for you to do is to activate those parts of you that you have learned to dummy down, to turn off, to disconnect from, because maybe there was a threat somewhere where you felt that you couldn't be a certain way, you couldn't say certain things, because if you did, we always operate if then. If I do this, then this will happen. If I don't do that, then that will happen. If we start to operate like that, because of the fact that we had to turn off certain things about ourselves, because we were afraid that we may lose relationships, we may disconnect from people, it may not serve us well, then it will continue on that way, always operating in survival mode, always operating in a fight, flight, or freeze. I would rather for you to do something called reframe. And I'm going to talk about this throughout our time together on our Mondays. Reframe just means looking at it differently. Being able to give your subconsciousness another thing to look at, as opposed to the one thing that you've been looking at for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Activate. Activate the very things that you feel are a threat to your life, your livelihood, and your lifestyle. And I'm laughing because I know that may raise some anxiety right now. It's like, what do you mean? I've been doing this way so that I don't have anything to threat against my life, my lifestyle, and my livelihood. But then the acid test is, how is that working for you? Yeah, it may be serving you, but how is it working for you in terms of, do you feel like you're being your true self? Do you feel like you're really living or putting truth to power? Do you really feel like you're really living life on your terms without limits? I'd rather you discover and decide on what are those things that I really want to do, and I want to say, and I want to be, and I want to do, and I want to have. But I'm just afraid that if I do this, then that will happen. I want to challenge that thought. How about if you do decide to be true to yourself and speak truth to power and stand up in your authority and do, be, and have those things, and that there isn't a threat to losing anything? How about if, in fact, it helps you to enhance, to expand, to elevate? those very things that you desire to do, to be, and to have. So instead of thinking of the worst case scenario, and trust you me, I've been in this business for a long time. I thought I heard it all. Now, this generation here, I love the Gen Zers. Hands down, I do. It's just that it's like, because I've been in this business for a while, like let's say like 28 years. It's like when I thought I heard it all, I realized that I didn't, and that's okay, because I'm always one to want to learn, because I believe that if you're not learning, you're dying. So hey, y'all bring it. I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here with you. Like I'm saying, I would rather for you to now start reconsidering. I invite you to consider, to activate those very things that have been on your mind, that you've been contemplating, that you've been wondering and questioning and guessing if you should say a certain thing, do a certain thing, be a certain way, and not for the sake of anybody. This is all for the sake of you. Do not let external factors dictate your every single move. Activate who you truly are for you, not for anything, not to get something. If I activate myself, then I get no. If you activate yourself, then you're just being true to yourself. And you'll be surprised all that unfolds for you in that process. So the A, activate. Move right along. And then I'm going to invite you all to let me know your questions so we could be here for it and help you to get the answers that you're looking for. All right. C is connect. So ACET, ACEIT. A is activate yourself. Activate the things that you want to do, you want to be, you want to have. Stop hiding yourself, rise to the occasion. C, connect. What do I mean by connect? So there are 3 things as human beings that we have to have. Now, this is beyond and besides the hierarchy of needs or the basic needs of food, shelter, and water. As human beings, if you can recall back to the pandemic, it touched everybody. It really impacted everyone, the whole entire world. And during that time, I was really at a space and a place. I'm like, wow, what can I do? How can I help? How can I help these folks out here? It was just really hurting my heart because I'm an empath. So I'm very sensitive to people's pain, to their challenges. Perhaps that's part of the reason why I came into counseling, right? At least one of my many hats that I wear. But one of the 3 things that we need for as human beings is we need connection. So the 3 are community, control, and contribution. Community, control, contribution. Community, control, contribution. When the pandemic had hit, we had disconnected. We weren't around each other. There was all these restrictions and limitations. We couldn't really be with people. We had to shelter in place. Even if someone in our household had COVID, we had to go in our room and be to ourselves. And we could not connect. We were so isolated. We were disconnected. And what's even more interesting is that we were disconnected from our own selves too. The pandemic really had opened our eyes to a lot of things in positive ways as well, but not so positive ways too. And because of the fact that we crave, in all honesty, to connect, even if we're introverted, even if we don't like to be around people, remember what I said earlier, part of that is because of the schema, because of what has been programmed and we've been conditioned for the sake of safety. We're always trying to see how can we be safe? How can we trust? How do we not get abandoned? How do we not get rejected? But here's the thing I want to invite you to consider. Instead of concerning yourself on what you don't want and what not to do, what is it that you do want and what you should do? Again, reframe. We have to connect. We have to be connected. But before we can connect with others, because we have to know the reason behind why we want to connect with people too. Yes, it is a human need, it's a human right, it's part of our nature and our makeup. However, we also have to know the reason behind why we do what we do. Why do we think the way that we think? Why we behave the way that we behave? So if you're looking to connect for the sake of feeling fulfilled, feeling whole, feeling complete, feeling like someone completes you, I want you to reframe that. I invite you to consider connecting with yourself first. Because when you connect with yourself first, then you're setting the example for others to follow. That now it's not because you're connecting with someone for you to feel a certain way. You're just connecting because that's just a part of human nature. But when you're connecting with yourself, this is what I found working with clients all over the world for, again, decades and decades long, is that we tend to, when we feel alone, when we feel empty, when we feel voided, when we feel like we are invaluable, unworthy, undeserving, it is understandable that we will want to find something to make us feel differently because we don't like the way that we're feeling about ourselves. The problem and the challenge becomes is that we will always seek after. And when we can't seek anymore, what do? I'd rather for you to do something that I've heard by someone before when they said that our responsibility is to fill our own cups. Anything that comes after that is extra. So that if or when that person leaves and takes what they had poured into you, they take it away, it's all good because you're still fulfilled and you're still full anyway. So it's a matter of, instead of looking at the things that you feel are wrong or unworthy or undeserved or undeserving, or you just feel like it's something that you just don't love about yourself, I'd rather for you to take the time to find what is it that is lovable about you. And it's not based on anyone, like something that you just like about yourself, not based on what you feel people have said about you. So I'll say this, like for myself, I used to, now get this, if I may share me as an example, I hope that's okay. I used to not like my smile. I used to hide my mouth all the time when I would laugh, smile. And what was so fascinating about that is that that is one of the things that I am most remembered for. When people see me, that's all they say. I was somewhere, I was at a restaurant with someone, right? And the waiter was hitting on me. He was like, you know, you just look beautiful, I had red on. He's like, you just look beautiful in red. And I said, well, thank you so much. I was like, how's your day going? He said, oh, my day is great. And it's wonderful now that I get to see your beautiful smile. I don't know that waiter, but it was about my smile. Or I went to another event and this one person came up to me and it was ending. The event was ending and we all tired. We're ready to go home. And the gentleman came up to me. He was like, oh, I know that we didn't get a chance to talk, but I just wanted to say that you just have such a beautiful smile. I've always been acknowledged for my smile, but yet I thought something was wrong with it. So what am I saying is that I had to start looking at what is it that I like about me. Also taking note of what people have complimented me on. So that can boost my esteem. So that can build me up to the point that when I no longer need anyone else's validation and I can ride on my own, that I build it up enough, then that can carry you through. And then that will help others to follow suit. That if they do not care to be with you, or they leave you, or they don't compliment you or validate you or affirm you, it's all good because you already got that taken care of. You got that on lock. So I'd rather for you to connect with yourself, find out the things that gives you joy, what makes you happy, what makes you like yourself. And don't go based on what other people say. Oh, but they said they didn't like it. It doesn't matter. Your opinion matters just a little bit more. So ACE, it. A is activate, C is connect. E is embodiment. Embodiment. I know it's like I'm using this word, not saying that you don't know what I'm talking about, but embody is more, I think another word that comes to mind that I would rather for you to use really is expand. Whew, expand. That hits better. Expand. Here's why. This is why I didn't use embodiment. When I used to do A.C.E, that was one of the words that I would use. But now in this moment, I want to say expand yourself. I remember listening to this pastor, this preacher, you may have heard of him, called T.D. Jakes. And one time I think he was talking to, was it Oprah? Who was talking to someone, and he was saying, for the most part, that whether it was her or he was talking to whomever he was talking to, not the point. He was talking about the fact that we pour ourselves into people, and maybe there's an expectation for people to pour back into us, right? Give and take. And sometimes that doesn't seem to be the case, right? People may have poured what they could. Your percentage of how you are, who you are, how you show up may be different from my capacity of who I am, how I show up, what I give back. Everybody's percentages are different. So they may have given 100% of themselves, but they may be at a certain capacity of their 100. So my point is that sometimes we're operating maybe like 50% of ourselves, 20% of ourselves, 60% of ourselves. And we may be doing the darn thing. We may be excellent in our 60, in our 50, in our 40. First of all, it can't be compared to no one. So we can't, and I'm going to talk about that. We can't another time, but we can't keep comparing ourselves to others. Rather, we have to look at ourselves and see if there's anything about us that we can expand a little bit more, like come out of our comfort zone just a little bit more, despite of the fact that, hey, it is stretching. Yes, it is having us to put up a little bit more effort, but that's okay, because instead of looking at how the stretching may hurt, maybe it's scary to come out of our comfort zone, I'd rather for you to keep your eyes on the prize. What is the end goal? What is your end goal for even showing up today? What is your end goal for the following year or years to come? What is your end goal? What was your end goal for this year? Did you fulfill it? And if not, why? How were you operating? How were you showing up? What were you deciding? What was in your wheelhouse or your lane or your capacity? We have to realize that whatever we done that got us here may not be the thing that's going to get us to the next. And that's interesting, because we tend to want to keep doing something that's similar. And I'll speak for me. I used to be that way. I'd rather, because it was safe. I could navigate it. I could maneuver it. I know it. It was comfortable. However, it wasn't getting me to where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to have. So that meant that I had to do something differently to get a different result. I've been saying that since day one of my start of even starting business. And we're talking about back in 2008, 2003, wherever that time was. But it really was a matter of making sure that we expand. I had to learn how to do something different to get a different result. I had to learn how to expand myself. By me doing that, it was easier for me to then expand my clients and help them to know how to expand themselves so that they can be more, do more, have more, and have the capacity to accept more. If you're full, if we're eating, we had a great meal, right, on Thanksgiving, and you're trying, we're like, okay, but you didn't you didn't touch grandma's favorite recipe. You didn't touch her sweet potato pie. She's world famous for that, but you're so stuffed because you're at capacity. It's just the fact that, what is your percentage of your capacity? Have you been limiting yourself at 40% and that's where you're full? As opposed to making your stomach expand a little bit more, to take a little bit more in. I'm not saying, if you're stuffed, you're stuffed. But I'm talking about once you're no longer stuffed, how can you stretch your capacity to add a little bit more into your life that's going to be beneficial to you? Because right now you can only get what you are at capacity for. Let's start to expand it just a little bit more. I'm not asking you to go from 40 to 100, 40 to 41, 40 to 42. Step by step, moment by moment, day by day. It's just now expand, because you do not know what is awaiting you. And instead of thinking of it negatively, let's look at it positively. What may come down the pike if you were to expand yourself a little bit more? What opportunities are out there that's waiting for you? What clients, if you have your own business, who are waiting for you to just expand? Listen, this dropped in my heart. I want to say maybe, a week ago, of that or less, to do this. And I'm meeting you all who I've yet to meet for the first time. I had to expand a little bit more. I had to decide to go ahead and show up so that now I can be with you. So expand. You never know positively what will unfold for you in the process. Last two, and then we'll go right into questions. I is invest. Invest in yourself. Now listen. We know how to invest in ourselves externally, but do we know how to invest in ourselves internally? Are we, as my dad used to say, or would say, shucking and jiving, trying to get deals and opportunities? It has its time and place to do that. But for every single thing, because here's a saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're shucking and jiving, you're going to have clients that's going to shuck and jive with you. If you're shucking and jiving, your significant other will shuck and jive with you. If you're shucking and jiving, your kids will shuck and jive with you. So if you don't want none of that shucking and jiving, that means you got to do something differently to get a different result. It's time to invest in yourself. Sometimes, like I said, especially around this time, this season, everybody's offering something. Hey, I'm offering something, okay? I'm going to drop those links in here. But it is a matter of making sure that how are you investing yourself, your time, your energy, your money? How are you investing for you to activate, to connect more, to expand more? Are you investing in yourself? We're not just talking, it doesn't have to be just money in terms of investing into stocks and bonds and everything of the like, but it's also about internally. How are you investing in terms of your mindset? How are you investing in terms of career goals and strategies? Working with a mentor, working with a coach, working with a counselor. Are you investing in yourself? How much value and worth do you have about yourself that you feel that you're worthy and deserving enough to invest in your growth, in your limitlessness, in your success, in your happiness? Yeah. Make sure that you make the time and the moment to start investing in yourself. And lastly, T. So A.C.E. A was activate. C was connect. E was expand. I was invest. T, trust. Trust in yourself. Trust. Oh my God, I could feel the anxiety with some. I'm not trying to speak this over you. Trust. Dr. Langley, how can I trust in myself? You know, I made some mistakes along the way. How do I trust myself? I'm looking at people and I'm looking at them and I'm trusting them, but I just don't trust me because I made mistakes. Hey, we all made mistakes. That's part of life. We all make mistakes. That's part of life. That doesn't negate or take away from you being able to trust yourself, because I will dare even say that there may have been times that when you did trust yourself, that it did work out, that things did happen. There are sometimes you just got to dig in the memory banks. You got to dig into the crates and see and bring up what times did you trust yourself and it actually did work out. I'd rather for you to think about that and meditate more on that than you meditating on the fact that, oh, because remember what I said earlier, our brain is designed to protect us, to serve us in that way. The problem with that, it keeps us limited. It keeps us stuck. It keeps us in a box. So anytime that you're peeping out your head and you're like, okay, there's an opportunity for me to change and be different and do different and have differently, your brain is going to automatically, subconsciously going to be like, oh, but remember that time that, you know, that happened, you made that decision and it didn't work out. Remember that time that happened and, you know, that person hurt you, so it didn't work out. Remember that time, so you saw what I did. It's like you're trying to peep your head outside the box, but then you start to remember the things that you did that had you to not trust yourself, to keep you in the box, to keep you safe. Until we decide to reframe it and start thinking of the times that, hey, times it did work out when you did trust yourself. Times that you did make that decision and it did work out. And to even reframe the times that there were mistakes. You know what? But that's life. Life be lifing. Life happens. I've learned from that situation. I want to give myself another chance. How else will I know that I've grown unless I get out of this box and trust myself? Trust. Start learning how to trust yourself just a little bit more. Expand it just a little bit more. You'll be surprised what will come out of it positively in the process. So A.C.E, activate, connect, expand, invest, and trust. I was trying to make sure I didn't miss any words. Oh, I hope that was fun. I hope that you love this. I hope that you had your pen and pad. I hope you caught that, those gems, those nuggets, that manna from heaven. I hope that this was really helpful for you. Let me know how you're going to apply, how you're going to ace it in your life. All right, so let's go ahead and regroup and recenter so we can have time. And like I said, I'm just kind of playing around with this. I want to see how this all works. I will likely, my goal was to really kind of just talk within 10 to 15 minutes of certain nuggets that I want to bring to you, and then give the time and the floor so that everyone can get their questions answered. And like I said, I do want to drop some links, what I have been offering, because let's say that there's a point that you are like, okay, yeah, that sounds great, Dr. Langley, that's amazing. A.C.E, yes, I'm all for it. And I still don't know how. I am offering 2 options to working with me for me to help you to ace it. One was, I'm offering this special all this month where I am doing something called the Limitless Success Express Goal Session. It's a goal planning session where we're having 60 minutes together on being able to map out, chart, identify, assess, and to capitalize on your opportunities to achieve your goals for the following year. So yes, it will be time is high level, high touch, in-depth, engaging. And I also have a map or plan of action that I already have created and designed, which I love. Just downloaded for me. I'm going to say half a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, I was like, this would be incredible for me to help, my clients on their goals successfully. Proven systems, again, being able, for the decades of learning, knowledge, experience that I've been into, coaching, counseling, consulting clients worldwide. So it's already been proven, many testimonials around it. So I definitely would love just to help. And usually the time, or what I normally do when I'm doing an hour of work with someone is, I want to say, let's put it like this. I took it 90% off in this one-on-one. So usually it's, I don't know how many, 9 times more than what I normally charge or have the person to invest in. I am discounting it 90% off. I will drop the link where if you will have an hour that you can invest in your time and invest in yourself for us to be able to roadmap together and plan out your plan of action successfully for you to achieve your goals for the following year. So I will drop that in the link. Actually, I think that's the one I'm going to offer today. So I'll put that in the link, in the chat rather. I'll drop the link and you can have any questions, just let me know. But I would love to help and support you and serve you at this time. All right, so let's go right into the questions. So how would you like to do this? I can read the question off, or if you would like to unmute your phone, and then you can share with me your question. We can dialogue from there. So if you can put in the chat, how would you like? Would you like to go ahead and share your question verbally by unmuting your phone? Or do you want me to just read your question and I answer it? Please let me know in the chat and we can go from there. See, I like to engage. I like to make this more of a partnership. Let's see. Going to do. All right. All right. So thank you. All right. So here. First of all, hey, Brianna from Minnesota. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining and having this conversation and dialogue. I hope that A.C.E had helped you. You're here to gain networking and career advice with respect to navigating corporate America as a minority. All right. So please let me know any particular question that you have in terms of, because I want to make sure that I answer specifically to your concern so that you can feel like you have walked away with the answers, with the answers you're seeking. So career advice, navigating corporate America as a minority. I'll start talking and you can clarify, or if you want to add extra in terms of making sure that I answer your question correctly. Having worked with clients, with women of color in particular, that have been challenged with, a couple of things. So one thing that I have noticed in working with those who are in corporate America as a minority, women of color that I've spoken to, one of the challenges was them feeling like they didn't belong. They didn't feel like they were connecting. They didn't feel like they were engaging with, and they couldn't. They felt that they couldn't be themselves. They felt that they had to hide. They felt that they weren't invited into the table. They felt that they had to bulldoze their way to the table, but then they were feeling like they were fearing the risk of being seen as a angry Black woman. So they had all these trepidations and triggers and worries about how they were being perceived and seen and showing up. Actually, another person comes to mind. I had a gentleman of color who was concerned as well, but which this seemed to have impacted people's imposter syndrome. And they were feeling they weren't good enough. They had to feel like they had to prove themselves. It was all these things that I always tell my clients that, you know what, you are valid with how you feel. This is your lived experience. And yes, you're going through the motions, because it's one thing as people of color, we had to do all of our lives is having to feel like we have to prove ourselves. We got to be 100 times better, smarter, faster, stronger, just to measure up to others, to get, the things that we are trying to get or to achieve or to be acknowledged for. And so in navigating corporate America as a minority, whether a person of color, it's a matter of doing a few things. I said earlier where I was alluding to about activating yourself. This is the time where we need to start really getting to know who we truly are. I posted a meme up the other day, and the meme said, the meme has said, learn who you are, unlearn who they told you to be. Learn who you are, unlearn who they told you to be. Learn who you are, unlearn who they told you to be. It is a matter of us being able to embody, to embrace, to own ourselves and who we are, what we're bringing to the table. I would tell my ladies, the women of color, they didn't know each other. They were from different walks of life all across the country. They never met. None of them met each other. And I would say, you know what, but they all were saying the same thing. And what my comeback was, you know what, never leave yourself at the door. Never leave yourself at the door. Yes, you have corporate culture that you have to understand and navigate and all that. And then it starts to get exhausting and tiresome. So you'll have to do one or two things in that regard. And I'm about to give you the answer to that. Otherwise, never leave yourself at the door. And this is the time of this is perfect timing on the time of the world where things are changing, where we're starting to be ourselves, that we're able to embrace ourselves. Our hair, goodness, to wear braids, to talk ebonics. I don't know how old you are. I remember that term was used back in, I don't know, the 80s, ebonics. That we can now come in our culture, our versatility, our excellence. We're able to now bring that with us as we come into the door of the place. The first thing that you have to do in terms of navigating corporate America as a minority is to, I really honestly can just tell you, you have to own yourself. You have to be comfortable and be okay with who you are, how you are, and where you come from to come in there. Dare to be yourself. There's a reason why you're hired. So instead of looking at what can you get from the company, look at the fact that they brought you in. We can debate if it was because, they needed so many people of color or so many minorities to come in for them to meet a quota. But it's another that nevertheless you were chosen. And the fact that, what is it that how bad you are and all your greatness that you can give to that company. It's not always about what the company can give to you, but honor, acknowledge what you are giving to that company. Acknowledge and honor your gifts, your talents, your intelligence, your contribution. Remember what I said about that? Community, control, and contribution. You honor that. When you do all that first, others will follow suit. Yes, there may be people that will be threatened by it. So that's what we just talked about earlier too. There may be many people that may be threatened by you actually showing up and being your true self. The ones that are supposed to connect with you and align with you and love that, and they're inspired and admiring you for your courage to be you. My goodness, I want you to reframe. Think about the benefits of you being a minority in corporate America. Otherwise, one or two things will have to happen. If you're not in alignment with the corporate culture, change management, how things are always changing, how they got these rules and things like that, is it a matter of you being there to start changing the corporate culture and the rules? Or if it's not in alignment, is it a reconsideration? That one of my favorite gurus, who's not with us, his name is Jim Rohn. He always would say, it's not about you going to the job on what you can get from the company. It's about who you are becoming at the company. He would say, it's not about what you're getting there. It's about who you are becoming there. So who's to say that it's a stepping stone and a platform that you may one day decide to create your own Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company, Black owned or minority owned. Who is to say that it's about you being there as you are growing, you're cultivating, you're learning, you're engaging, you're gathering all the information that you need so that now it can take you to the next level. So please, by all means, make sure that one, you honor and acknowledge, keep your head held high. You own yourself, your gifts, your talents, your intelligence, what you're bringing, what you're contributing to that company. Two, if it is not in alignment with your values and your rules and your norms and all of that, you can reconsider if it's the place for you or to be there and gather all that you can from that space and place. Third is all about who you know too. How are you connecting? What information that you can gather? What relationships can you gather in corporate America? Because it is about who you know as well. It's not always about what you know, but who you know too. So who are you connecting with and networking with, using those opportunities to help add more value to you, to put you as top of mind in other people's minds, so that if they have something and they think of you, how are you able to uniquely stand out? Not just because you're a minority, but how can you uniquely stand out? And honestly, you standing out because you just being who you are, unapologetically, guiltlessly, without fear, that will take you a long way. I tell you the truth. Yes, there may be opposition. Yes, there may be challenges, because that's life. Life be lifing, but that's okay. Remember, keep your mind, keep your eyes on the prize. What is the end goal that you have? So those are the things that come to mind. I hope that answered your questions. Again, let me know, put it in the chat if it did. If you had any other additional questions, let me know, or any follow-up questions to that. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Yeah, something else. I hope that was helpful. Good. I'm glad. Trying to think, is there anything else? I remember talking to this one other person who was in corporate America. What else came to mind? Besides those three, it is also a matter of taking advantage of those opportunities that come up. There's always internal opportunities that come up. Being able to transfer to other companies that's starting to branch out and do other things, trying to see what other opportunities that are out there, any learning opportunities, any networking luncheons that they may offer that you can, again, expand and grow yourself, add more value to yourself. But you always have to start with the end in mind, meaning, what is your end goal? What is the purpose of you being there? What do you want to get? Is it just experience, a name, The fact that you work for X, Y, and Z company that's known, so now you can put that on your resume. It's always about your intentionality. What is your goal in being in corporate America? Let it not be for it to now add value to you in the sense of to validate you, to make you feel good about yourself. Rather, remember, it's about you being already proud at what you're offering and what you're giving and contributing to this company. When you have that type of mindset and shift it that way, it makes a world of difference. Nobody can tell you nothing. Yeah. So I hope that was helpful. All right. So please tell me, what are your takeaways from this conversation today? And please, it's not limited to just that question or any of the, you can have more than one question. So from different categories. So I just want to know, what are y'all takeaways? So I always ask my clients so that, again, they can remember and connect with what is said. So what things resonated from this conversation today? You can feel free to put it in the chat. What resonated for you? What is your takeaway? And what is it that you're committing to? So what resonated? What's your takeaway? And what's one thing you are committing to? Or whether acing it or towards your own goal. All right. Oh, I love this. I love giving. I love teaching. I remember my 6th grade teacher, he became a principal in my elementary school. And I remember I used to always commend teachers. I was like, wow, I'm just so fascinated with them. But I could never see myself as a teacher. But pretty much that's what I do. I love teaching. I love to pour. I love to empower. I definitely love transforming lives so that everyone can be limitless, because I feel that when we're limitless, there's nothing that we can do. We're unstoppable. And it also plays part in the contribution that we give to this world. This world will be such a better place ever if we were not limited, if we could just truly be ourselves and let it be all about equality. So I'm so glad. Let me see. Lots of good takeaways. Definitely prioritizing self in order to show up at our best. Also remembering to fill our own cups. Yes, I'm committing to reconnecting with myself. Excellent. Which I had a clapper. So next time I'm going to have a clapper. So anytime I'm hearing some great wins, I'm going to, I'm acting like I got clappers in my hand now. So let me go ahead and drop that link as well. So let me see. The link here is, going to drop the link. So at any time you want to be able to work with me, I'm at your service. And if there's anyone, if you found that this was valuable, please share. There are people that you are connected to that I have yet to tap or to connect or to work with. So please, if there are anyone that you feel that could benefit from these office hours, please let me know. And please actually let me know how this format was. I am so open to being able to contour and to massage this to your liking. Whether, again, if I just talk for 10 to 15 minutes of the nugget or gem that drops in that I want to share with you, or give way more time to all the questions and also the time, because I know that everybody's in different time zones. So I'm just trying to see what times work. So I'm going to actually do a poll as well and see so that everybody can have an opportunity to come in. So thank you so much for your time. And again, if you want to work with me, it's called the Limitless Success Express Goal Planning Session, where I'm helping to help you to identify for 60 minutes. We're going to have fun, have time to identify, to map out, to assess, and to capitalize on opportunities that will help you to achieve your goals in the following year. And I have a roadmap that will be yours as a gift from me to you, in terms of us being able to map it out so that you can, it's an implementable, immediate, easy to follow, step-by-step format that you can apply and that you can see the success right away. So I am excited excited about that. And just making sure that you get a chance to look and see what opportunities or time slots are available, because it's only but so many for this month. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to give my undivided attention and time, and that I show fully and like playing full out with you and showing up fully with you, so that I want to make sure that I give my time accordingly to all those who are booking. So again, make sure that you take advantage of it, act fast, 90% off. Okay. 90% off. Usually working with me one-on-one, just at a minimum start, is 4 figures. So, and that's just a minimum. Usually I do 3-hour minimum. So we're talking about 5, but this is a 3-figure investment, 90% off, so that I can help you to jumpstart and leapfrog into your goals, into your year. So thank you. Any questions, let me know. Any other questions? All right. So, well, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for just having fun with me. Thank you so much for you being you. And I'm holding you to it for you to ace it. All right, Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, your Limitless Liberator, helping you to live, love, and lead powerfully and boldly without limits, so that you can redefine success and happiness on your own terms, without guilt, without fear, without apology. All right, you take care. Have a great one. Bye.